We're thrilled to welcome, more than 30 residents from the town of Andover. Some business owners, but a lot of artists have joined us to start a community visioning workshop on what this beautiful, historic, amazing building in the center of town, in the center of an economic development engine of downtown Andover, can be for now and the future. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ann Ormond. I work for the town of Andover. I have the great pleasure of doing business, arts, and cultural development for the town. And you are in Old Town Hall. How many of you is the first time you've been upstairs here? Wow, okay, so that's pretty good, not bad. We are gonna do a little walkabout after, halfway through, but we're really thrilled to start a conversation, a community conversation about this building. Old Town Hall, 20 Main Street, was the site of the original town hall. It's been many things. There's a lot of history. There was an apothecary. There was a prison. There are safes that are still downstairs that you can see. We'll take a little walkabout after. But we are going to start reimagining what could happen in this space. We have lovely restrooms downstairs if you need those. The post office here is here. How many people knew that the post office was here? Yeah, I bet everybody did. So, so on behalf of the planning and land use team, we are bringing people together with our partner consultant, LaGrasse, I always mess that up. LaGrasse, Yanovitz, and File. And they're going to lead us through a conversation tonight, imagining, dreaming what this building could be. What do you all see? We've had, there's different events that have been here. John Hess had his Avis annual meeting here last night. I'm going to call him out as he's walking in. We had a Love the Arts artisan market in February, which was really well received. But what could this building be ongoing and not just sporadic special events? So without further ado, housekeeping is, bathrooms are downstairs. The elevator is here if anybody needs it. And I'm going to introduce Mark Yanovitz from LYF. I'm going to shorten it so I don't have to butcher the name yet again. So, Mark. Just one thing. Okay.
So yeah, we're going virtual tonight as well. So we got some IT going on. Good evening, everyone. Mark Yanovitz. I'm one of the principals of LaGrasse, Yanovitz and File Architects. We're located in One Elm Square. We're just like a block and a half down the street, and are honored to be selected by the town to help with this investigation. And really is exciting because, as we all know, it's a great community resource, and really it's all about how do we best activate it. So here, the front, was the front.
Just remember they wanted to read that.
Oh, we are.
Recording in progress.
So be careful what you say. We're going to memorialize it. Beautiful exterior image. So I wanted to start with bringing everyone's attention. There was a very interesting study done in 2016 called Imagine Andover. A copy of it is on the town website, and it largely investigates how to improve the town in multiple ways. And it largely, the scope of the work is mainly kind of focused on these bullet points, but really trying to make downtown Andover a more vibrant destination. Opportunities to create a sense of place, to maximize the potential of all the existing amenities that we have downtown, recommendations for complementary uses, creative opportunities to build community, identification of signature events, along with an analysis of the existing building inventory that we have, and strategies to attract visitors. So what you find, of course, Old Town Hall is right at the center of this, and largely brings, elements of all of these bullet points, and opportunities to use Old Town Hall as a point of activation.
Sorry.
Go ahead to the next. Generally, you know, after many months and these were kind of some national consultants, they studied other towns in the area, as well as looked at trends throughout the country of what other communities were doing. And some of the recommendations were to, you know, consider staying, you know, having more activity later, both in the evening and on weekends, to cater to both residents, visitors. Of course, improve general communication. Let people know what's going on and get people kind of consistently knowing where to search. Hey, what do we do tonight? And, you know, definitely do special events, bring people together for different reasons. And it could be business, could be social, and certainly, you know, the food is often, you know, something that brings us all together. You may do a taste of the town, supporting local restaurants. Embrace public art, you know, culturally. There's a lot going on within Andover. How do we encourage it more? Placemaking in general brings people together for all sorts of reasons. And largely, when you have a central community building such as this, how do you create that sense of place? Certainly to activate all ages within the community, and that's from the youth to our senior citizens and everyone in between. How do we have a place that's really for everyone? Certainly really strengthen the business community, and that's, you know, the retail, particularly retail restaurant services, you know, different types of professional services. How can we help support them? And essentially recruit even better ones. You know, how do we make it a more attractive town to build from? Create active spaces. So obviously, you know, all of the above, you know, the more activity you have, and, you know, for both social, business, and other community, you help support the other, you know, goals above. And in general, you know, create gathering spaces. Again, part of placemaking is places we can all congregate and kind of build a community that's vibrant. So this is essentially what the task is today. It's really, how do we maximize the use of this community resource to best activate the whole downtown area? And that's for residents, for visitors, and for local businesses. For everyone, essentially. How can we best maximize this potential? And you're sitting in this wonderful room, and there's other space downstairs that most, you know, people would say is not activated. You know, the potential is not maximized. Many of you have been to the post office. There's been temporary offices. There's other space down there. How can we use both floors in a more maximum potential? Now, I brought this slide up because obviously the building doesn't stand by itself. We're on a community site, and there's been some plans to improve the site in general. You've seen the front patio improvements, but there's a municipal parking lot improvement in the rear, which is really integrating this building, the rear of this building, to our municipal lot behind. And I'd like to have Lisa Schwartz, who's one of the town planners, speak about the plan and make sure everyone understands really what the goal was on what this plan is, and it's going to be executed this year. Lisa?
So as you can see, if anyone drove downtown tonight, there's a little bit of a squeeze on parking because currently we're under construction and we're calling it Lot 2. The Park Street Village lot is completely under construction right now, and so people are having, at least it's nice out, so if we had to walk a little bit. The idea of the whole renovation of the parking lots was to make the area safer for pedestrians to park in the back parking lot and connect to Main Street. So for so long, the two parking lots were very disconnected. And you would see everyone wanted to park behind this building and no one wanted to park in that back parking lot. We did a parking study. They said that the back parking lot never had any more than 50% capacity at any time, even the busiest times during the day. And so they helped us decide to move forward with a whole renovation and reorient the back parking. So you can see here where the parking will now go, I guess, east to west versus north to south. And there's going to be a walkway that will go all the way from the building in the back that will take you up the center, cross safely all the way to Old Town Hall. And so the idea is to make it, I know it's a parking lot, but to be a little bit more connected to downtown, more trees, more green, more crosswalks, bike racks, electrical vehicle charging stations. Something else that came out of the design is that you can see behind the Old Town Hall, we're going to have a very large area, flat area, that we don't exactly know what's going to happen, and we might hear some ideas tonight about what type of programming that we can do back there. Should we have art? Should we have tables? Should we have lights? Should we have festivals? Also, the entire parking lot behind the Old Town Hall will be raised. And so if we want to, we'll be able to close off just that parking lot and keep the streets open. So if we wanted to have a farmer's market, a winter market, a concert, you could do it there without closing off the streets. You could close off the streets if you want, but you could also keep the other parking lot open. And so it's all about safety, placemaking, people, and gathering downtown. So we just thought that it's connected, and what you see out there behind the building now, it'll be, whatever the HVAC unit will be screened, and then everything else will be removed, and there'll be two nice light poles flanking the building on the other side.
So, and I will add, a number of people asked me, is like, why did they take all those trees down? And largely they were also not many non-native trees, so they really should not have been there. We're trying to work with native vegetation, and so the new trees will be native shade trees, and but it's a wonderful opportunity, as Lisa mentioned, to have a community gathering in the parking lot directly behind Old Town Hall, with the opportunity possibly to bring people into the rear of Old Town Hall, or make this entrance more inviting, and kind of engage Old Town Hall with the community gathering spot behind. So the building doesn't, sits on the site, and the site is part of the building. So always like to include that in the overall kind of consideration. So we next then really start talking about the building itself. And this is effectively the existing conditions of the first floor. As mentioned, we'd like to invite everyone after our brief conversation here to tour the ground level to see really what it is, and essentially kind of realize there's some opportunity to really utilize some of this square footage in a different capacity than what it has been. In the lower right corner is the post office. If you come in from Main Street, it's a classic old community post office, and there's a front of house public area, and then the back office is where the postmaster does their work. That right now they have a long-term lease. They're not going anywhere, and effectively they're going to be part of, it's part of the community resource that as residents and businesses are able to use. You have a central hallway with access to the bathrooms, and then you really have what's on the southern side of the building, two available kind of spaces that we can consider. There's the two large kind of closet-looking objects in the middle are old vaults. You'll see them, the wonderful old steel doors, There are masonry interior walls. You know, this conversation, do we work with them as historic elements, or do we decide the space is more valuable for something else, and we need to do a historical review. The building itself is on the National Register for Historic Places, so we don't do anything here, you know, without careful evaluation of the historic nature of it. But essentially, you have two spaces today. It could be combined as one. It could be divided up into other spaces. And then you have a rear space with essentially 4 windows that face the rear parking lot and that community area. There's a hallway with elevator access. And then on the south side, you also have the accessible entrance, the ramp you know, the handicap and anyone with accessible needs would come in from that direction. I will say that the grade at the rear of the building is not significant, and it could be possible to bring accessible entrance through one of those windows, should that be a decision, and again, kind of approved on a historical level. So you have, you know, and if you go to the next slide, this is just a diagram giving you conceptually how you could possibly envision these spaces. The upper left is the existing conditions. On the upper right, you could combine that one area. Down there, it could be divided into 2 or 3 spaces. Potentially, each of these spaces could be activated in a different way. We could have meeting areas, you know, conference areas. It could be virtual office, workspace. We could have retail there, and it could be, you know, local food or craft. It could be an art gallery that combined as a meeting room. You know, so the idea, some people have talked about like a Quincy Market type of local businesses that are pop-up type businesses that change on a monthly, quarterly, annual basis. So it's like something might always be going on there. It's like, what's happening tonight? Oh, it's the 3rd Friday. It's an art opening. It's there could be professional businesses doing, you know, offering services. So any type of combination could be possible. What is best for our community? You know, that's the conversation we're looking for. Then we obviously have the 2nd floor, this wonderful space, which we really don't need to do anything to other than possibly some acoustical improvements to improve the quality of sound and the ability to have conversations like this, but also maybe to have you know, theater, dances, musical performances, large lectures, you know, movies, you know, all sorts of, you know, wouldn't it be wonderful if most nights of the evening something was happening here. In the Imagine Andover report, they talk about the great thing of supporting local restaurants by dinner and a show, you know, that you could always like have an activity that's walkable, go out to dinner, let's go, you know, we're gonna go dancing, we're gonna see a theater, you know, we're gonna watch a movie. What could happen here? And so that's part of the conversation. How is this space best used? And really for the local community. And, you know, obviously it could be, you know, a wedding venue, but that's, you know, not so much what's best for our community. So that's really the kind of input we're looking for and want to empower the community to speak up and voice. We've put together a survey, an online survey that will be active on the town website tomorrow. And if you switch to, there's a QR code. I think it's even active. Ann, is it active tonight? So technically, if you focus your camera on it, you could start the survey tonight, and And equally, any kind of comments, if you want to send private information, thoughts. Anne has her email up here as well. What we'd like to do tonight is, again, tour the first floor, kind of give you a better sense of what it is, because a lot of people haven't seen it. Then we have floor plans, blank kind of floor plans, and we'd like you to come back and just talk about it among your table and kind of brainstorm. Do what we call a design charrette, just thoughts. Give your thoughts out and really kind of, share your personal view of what is most appropriate for the site. We have some photographs for our online audience that will kind of walk you through. We'll quickly go through this. This is the post office imagery. Here's some of the first base. This one
is the south side.
Is the closest to Main Street.
And this is the adjacent one on the south side.
On the south side.
This is the back parking lot side.
So it's always hard to get a full feeling of it in the photograph. The people that are here get to go see it. Some people online will.
And then this is just
and there's
access.
actually a third floor, which is quite interesting. And there's a balcony, as you know, from seeing there. But there's small rooms off of it.
And they're right here. Oh, hold on. So here we are. And then we have the catering
There's a
kitchen
small catering kitchen in the back right corner.
back here. And then upstairs, there's two little rooms. And then this is the back side of the building and the double access ramp and the parking lot.
Apology, I meant to introduce Crystal Kittredge, who's a senior interior designer with our architectural firm.
Not an IT person.
Not an IT, interior design.
And Mark, I also wanted to now to introduce a couple of other town folks that are with us.
Perfect.
In case people have questions about the building. Our two building experts are Janet Nicosia back there and Evan Cernos. They can answer any sort of technical questions about the building, and they're very intimately aware of what the building is like and on a regular basis. And then Terry Pistola is our purchasing agent, and she is very well versed in the town and has actually been up to the third floor. So I did not mention. I think at this point we're going to try to take people downstairs.
Drum shadow. So this one's larger, right?
It sounded. Wow. Isn't it awesome? Yes.
What a hardy crew, up and down, outside. I love it.
Not only can we program this space, but if we want to have a much larger event, we simply close off this edge and the edge over there. Cars can still flow, but the public will be in a controlled environment.
Almost like a green room. You know when you have like a
What we did is we printed large floor plans of the building. We had given a short presentation, conversation, really trying to make downtown Andover a more vibrant destination. And they're brainstorming. We call it design charrettes, where it's an engaging conversation. What are their personal ideas? How would they like to see the space being used? And they're writing their thoughts on sticky notes, putting them on the paper. We're going to compile their notes and add it to our findings of what the public would like to see.
We've come up with a lot of ideas regarding flex space. So the office downstairs that is one big room and then smaller room broken off into it. We'd like to take that wall down and put up a temporary wall that could be moved based on the space needs.
Many towns are using their community buildings to activate, to bring communities together and possibly engage, make the community more attractive for visitors, for the residents and local businesses.